A big weekend of boxing got started last night with fights in Times Square. Another two bouts this weekend coming up featuring stars Canelo Alvarez and Naoya Inoue. So let's talk about it with the great boxing writer and editor for DAZN. His name is Mark Lelinwalla, longtime friend, joins me now. Mark, how are you doing, sir?
Dex, I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. You were out there in Times Square last night for a boxing event in Times Square. Very unique. But I got to ask you about this because we saw Ryan Garcia fight. And Mark, how shocking was Rolando Romero's upset win over Ryan Garcia? And what do you think went wrong for Garcia out there in Times Square?
Yeah, Dexter, it was shocking. I think throughout the fight week, he was subjected, Rolly Romero was subjected to a lot of rematch talk between Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia. And it was almost like a foregone conclusion that that would happen, right? And from his own admission, Ryan Garcia, he delivered an off night. He had an off night. He said afterwards that he just didn't have it. Um, he got knocked down in the second round with a clubbing double hook, double left hook. Um, and it was shocking, but we have to remember too, giving credit to Rolly Romero. This is a guy that Gervonta Tank Davis said was the hardest hitting opponent he ever had. So he has the power, and he put together a pretty good fight for himself. Later using that stab jab to the body of Ryan Garcia to just maintain control. Um, and but nonetheless, it was a surprising upset to say the least.
Yeah, no, it was a surprise. A lot of people expected Garcia to look better than he did on Friday night, but he did not look good. Now, also on Friday night, Devin Haney, who you just mentioned, he returned to the ring. He did not look good, Mark. He looked pretty underwhelming. What do you make of what you saw from him? He did get the victory, but when you look at his performance, I think it also begs the question here when you determine what you saw from him. Do we still need a Haney versus Garcia rematch? Because you just spoke about how that's what everyone expected, but do we still need that after what we saw from Devin Haney on Friday night?
Yeah, so like Ryan Garcia, they both had this year layoff since their last April fight. And he came out very, very tentative. There were several seconds that went by where he didn't even throw a punch, right? So it did feel like those three knockdowns that Garcia delivered onto him um, played a role in affecting his mental approach to fighting Jose Ramirez. To his credit, he did rebound and he put together enough of a performance to get that unanimous decision. Um, but it did take some of the luster off a rematch. But I will say this, these two, they have bad blood and they have a story that we could easily be hooked back into, despite Garcia's loss. So while Haney didn't deliver the best performance against Jose Ramirez, he did uphold his end of the bargain. Would I be interested in a rematch? Yeah, I would, because I think um, they have some time away from these fights. They could kind of rebuild a little bit and be that much more ready. And the talk and the promotion is going to be there for these two. I was at all the events during fight week, and it's almost like they have to have this rematch. The
Hmm.
way I see it, I don't see how they could continue their respective stories without closing the chapter on this one.
All right, so the interest is still there. A lot of people want to see the rematch between Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney. Moving on to tonight, Saturday night, that is, we're going to have Canelo Alvarez. He's back in the ring versus William Scull. Here's a question, Mark. Can William Scull do anything to make this fight competitive against Alvarez, or is this just a stay busy showcase here for Canelo?
Yeah, I mean, we don't know, right? William Scull has never faced anybody remotely close to the caliber of superstar Canelo Alvarez is, right? So we're gonna find out tonight, all of us together, whether he could give him a competitive fight. I watched his winning of the IBF super middleweight title against Vladimir Shishkin, and he has a decent right hand that comes over the top, over and around the guard. of Shishkin in that fight. So I think we'll see. We'll see if it phases Canelo in any way, or if Canelo just runs through him. Certainly experience wise, um, you can't compare it to Canelo has nearly triple the amount of fights that um, William Scull has. So I think it's more than a showcase though, because it's for the for Canelo to try to get a second undisputed super middleweight crown. So it's bigger than that. But I understand why you say that. Until William Scull shows us otherwise, it's hard to imagine him um, challenging Canelo in a real way. But we're going to find out together.
Yeah, we're going to find out together. This is a huge step up in class for Skull here, obviously with Canelo, and we'll see how motivated Canelo is in this fight. Although you are right, there is some motivation for him here in this fight and what he needs to prove. Now, moving on to Sunday in Las Vegas, Naoya Inoue is fighting outside of Japan. First time he's doing that since 2021. Does that, the fact that he's fighting outside of Japan, does that have any impact on his performance here, Mark, against Ramon Cardenas? And Inoue, the power, we know how good he is with that. Recorded a knockout in 10 straight bouts. Is Cardenas a threat to break that streak, or is this another showcase, to use that word again, for the guy we know as the monster? What do you say?
Yeah, it's hard to imagine Inoue um, having trouble. With all due respect to Cardenas, it's hard to imagine him having trouble against him. That said, perhaps the flight is no joke. From Tokyo to 12 plus hours. We'll see if that has any effects on his legs at all. But he's in such a zone, and he's been delivering. This would be his 11th straight stoppage victory if he gets that. And he just finds a way. I know Cardenas likes to use the Philly shell, the shoulder roll. So I'm expecting the monster to work the body and then create that opening upstairs that gives him that 11 straight KO.
Yeah, it's hard to see. His power has been fantastic anyway, so you got to think you'll see some of that again. Okay, last thing for me, Mark. We're going to get these official predictions for these two fights that we've yet to see. If you had to predict who wins and how, Canelo versus Skull and Inoue versus Cardenas, who do you like in these fights?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Canelo and Inoue by stoppage. There's just too much firepower that each of them present. And Canelo to go into the Terrence Crawford fight for later this year um, with the second undisputed super middleweight crown. That's great incentive right there. With Inoue, it's just he always manufactures a way. We've seen it time and time again to deliver that highlight reel KO. So I'm not gonna go against that history.
All right, you and I have the same predictions here. Going with Canelo, going with Inoue. Hard to go against that. Excited for the Inoue fight. He's such an exciting fighter, best pound for pound fighter in the world right now. But a fantastic weekend of boxing. Mark Lelinwalla has been all over it. He was in Times Square. He's going to be on top of these two upcoming fights for the rest of the weekend. Check him out on DAZN, writer and editor for there, covering the great sport of boxing. Mark, always a pleasure to talk some boxing with you. We'll do it again soon, my friend.
Thanks very much, Dexter. Thanks for having me on.